when mothers and women become mothers and men become fathers, that very frequently the woman generates three options, and she says, I wonder whether I want to be full-time working, or do I want to be full-time with the children, or do I want to do some combination of both? And oftentimes these discussions happen as the woman is pregnant, and the men are sitting there just sort of just watching and listening to what the women are saying, and he's sort of silently generating three options of his own. Option one is work full-time, option two is work full-time, and option three is work full-time. And people
a lot of options there.
A lot of options, right? And people are saying, well, you know, men have the power, and you know, and what happens is that those men, with their option of work full-time, if that woman decides to cut back on her work, if she chooses what 60% of women do, that is, when children are born, 40% of women work full-time, 40% of them are full-time involved, 20% of them work part-time. So 60% cut back on their work. They either don't work at all outside the home for the first 5 years after the children are born, or they work only part-time. That means man increases the burden on him to provide not only his half of the income, but enough income for himself, the woman, the child, and the possible future child coming down the road, oftentimes the bigger home, oftentimes the fear that there has to be a margin for error in case the child gets sick or something along those lines. He starts thinking about his work in a very different way. So when the child is born, he ends up in what I call the father's catch-22. He ends up showing his love for the family by being away from the love of his family, and by being in the workplace. If he succeeds at work, we oftentimes accuse him of neglecting his family or being part of the patriarchal group that earns more money than his wife does. And so he gets blamed if he produces. He's considered a failure or a loser if he doesn't produce. So he's caught if he's home with the children full time. We don't have much respect for him. If he's out in the workplace and disconnected for the children, we sort of respect him for producing money, criticize him for being sort of away from the family, and but we don't even give the man the choice or the family the choice of saying, we don't have three options here, women's three options. We really have multiple options, women's three options and men's three options, and putting those three options together gives us multiple. It doesn't give us six choices. It gives us multiple choices. It gives us a choice of the woman working full-time for a while, then maybe the man working full-time for a while, both working part-time. It gives us choices of shifts and so on. It gives us a lot more choices depending on the personality and the opportunities for women and for men than it is if we just give the three choices to women.